Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live here on Facebook every morning at 10:30 in the morning, where we take a look at comments, headlines, ideas, tips, suggestions, and all kinds of useful information to help us really enjoy our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and it's always great to welcome new friends to our daily get-togethers. If you'd like to let us know that you're new, just write the word new in your comments, and we will be so very happy to give you a proper welcome. Also, if you have any important things that you have questions about or comments about that you want to make sure that the community will take a look at during the broadcast, please add the letter Q at the beginning of your question, and we'll be very happy to look at it during the broadcast. And if not, we'll do so just after the broadcast is over. And here we are. I hope some of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving yesterday. I hope you ate well. Luna, well, she doesn't get any special anything. But she's thankful. She is thankful. I'm wondering how everybody's doing this morning. And let me just say hello to some of our regular friends. Bill is checking in from San Diego. Good morning. James is checking in from Emiliano Zapata. This is great. Chicago, not Chicago. Chicago is in the house. Chicago. New Jersey is in the house. Good morning, Ricky. It's great to see you. Edmonton is in the house. All kinds of friends. Don is in Florida, and Florida is in the house. This is wonderful. And many, many, many more. Many, many, many more. We see a new person. Good morning, Margaret. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is our hangout. We don't know if you are a local. We don't know if you are a tourist. We don't know if you're planning to move here, but this is a place where hopefully you will be able to ask questions and learn a little bit more about what it's like to live here year around, what it's like to live here if you consider yourself emotionally or logistically a local. There's a lot of people that do, even though they're not here all the time. So this is all good. Beautiful Radium Hot Springs, British Columbia, says William. That sounds delightful. This is that time of year in which hot springs sound absolutely yummy. Mushi is taking care of herself, watching Coffee and Headlines, C&H. I love it. On one device, Black Friday shopping on the other. Yes, this is the day of the frenzy. And I'll have you know that there are several Mexican stores that also celebrate Black Friday. I was looking at Amazon Mexico, and they have a few deals that you may want to be looking at if you're down here. Otherwise, if you're north of the border, I'm sure you have your own sources. And if you go out shopping, please do so carefully. You don't need me to tell you that. Kelly says, tell Mr. Pickle good morning. Mr. Pickle is hiding. He may show up on Sunday for Sunday Fun Day. In fact, I think the Pickle should be here on Sunday, given the fact that we're going to be scrutinizing some wall art with phallic stuff. Mario was in Facebook jail. I don't think I've ever been in Facebook jail. Mario, why did they put you away? What were you commenting on? Please feel free to let us know, and we will commiserate with you. But I'm glad that you are out of Facebook jail. Okay. enough of an introduction. Luna would like to go back to sleep, so boop, bye bye. Off she goes. She is actually lying in bed. I tried to summon her to join me this morning, but she looks so incredibly comfortable that I just couldn't move her. Today we're going to take a look. Let me get comfortable. We're going to take a look at some announcements by our governor. In fact, we have a lot of news concerning our governor today. We have some news about certified beaches, beaches that are certified internationally to enjoy here in Banderas Bay. And we also have interesting information to share about a word that I don't know that I've used very frequently. And it's a difficult word for me to pronounce because it looks really scary. And that word is poinsettia. Poinsettia? Point. You know what I'm talking about, those flowers that are showing up everywhere. The pea flower. We're going to talk about the pea flower. Poinsettia. I'm not sure what it's called, but in Spanish we call it Flor de Nochebuena. So we're going to talk about Flor de Nochebuena today because it is beginning to feel a lot like face mask. It's that time of year. So I'm feeling jolly. Let's dive into the news. Okay, so remember when the emergency button went away, the governor said we are going to, a poinsettia. See, Kimberly writes it the way it's supposed to be written, and then Barb says poinsettia. So I'm going to consult with somebody that I can actually speak the word to me. But in the meantime, let me go back to the news. This is so funny. Back when the emergency button was lifted, the governor told us we're going to wait a couple of weeks so that the University of Guadalajara can take a look at the numbers and can give you a complete evaluation of how it worked out for us. And the governor has done that. He published some graphs yesterday that I'm showing you here today. Unfortunately, when he published the graphs, he did not explain them quite clearly. So I'm a bit reluctant to talk about these in detail today because there's no specific legend to identify what we're looking at. Although in general, the lines look good, the numbers look good. Again, I'll give you the bookmark if you want to take a look at them. There's this specific graph for Puerto Vallarta that shows everything coming down. But again, there is no indication of what the numbers mean. So I will take a look at these over the weekend so that I can report on these on Monday, as we usually do. And it is quite likely that these were broken down this morning because just about an hour and a half ago, Governor Enrique Alfaro went live on Facebook to explain the vaccination strategy for the state. They're already working on this and letting us know how it's going to work out. It was a 42 minute long presentation, so I suspect that Governor Alfaro did have a chance to break down those graphs on this morning's broadcast. Needless to say, this was just happening as we were getting ready to present Coffee and Headlines today, so we haven't had a chance to look at it. So I will look at it over the weekend, and we will come back to this on Monday, as we usually do. But for those of you that enjoy looking at the numbers and numbers of patients and so forth and so on, it is comforting to see that according to Noticias PV, there are only 9 people in Puerto Vallarta with COVID right now, at least according to the official numbers. This article features all kinds of numbers that break down how things are looking in terms of all the different municipalities in the states, how many people have died, how many people are actively struggling with coronavirus, and so forth and so on. So this is a very extensive numbers article for those of you who enjoy looking at the numbers very specifically. I'm going to share the bookmark for you to be able to examine this at your own time. We also announced a few days ago that the governor was planning this pilot program of opening a stadium for people, or a limited number of people, to enjoy a soccer game in person. And this happened, and according to the governor, it was a huge success. There were no problems. according to one of the papers, they did notice some chaos and some people that were not watching their safe distancing guidelines. So it remains to be seen whether this experiment was a success or not. And ultimately, as we know quite well, we need to wait for 2 weeks to get a sense as to um, whether these kinds of experiments are helpful or harmful. Do I feel nervous about people going places? Yes. But at the same time, I'm also mindful of the fact that the numbers speak for themselves, and governments like the government of our state, need to take chances and need to take risks so that we can learn more about the current situation. At least that's my mindset, because if we don't at least take a look at how things might look if we start going out, then how are we going to learn exactly what the boundaries are? Going back to the headlines, I am happy to report something that I've suspected since the emergency button was pushed. A lot of people were asking, well, are we going to have more emergency buttons pushed or more measures before the year is over? And it has been announced that there will not be any more what is being called in Spanish as botonazo, which is there's not going to be any more button pushing before the year is over. This has been reported by the different business chambers in the country. There will be no more closings or no more actions to slow down anything, at least not until the end of the year. Needless to say, we cannot expect that the profit or the economy is going to reactivate itself miraculously during the following month, but at least we won't have any surprises beyond what we already know. So we can take a look at, or we can look forward to a December in which, this is about as good as it's going to get in terms of our being able to move or not move, so forth and so on. Needless to say, of course, we continue to be very careful with the guidelines in general and continue to follow the same guidelines that we repeat over and over all the time. Before I get to your comments, let me share. I have two more serious news to share with you. One of them has to do with this closing of the highway that was announced and then it was canceled. Now it turns out, oh my God, look at those donuts. I don't want to look at those donuts. That's just a commercial, an ad. It turns out that the highway will be closed, or at least they've announced it again, for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of December. This is going to be a temporary closing because there's going to be work that combines the old highway with the new highway around the neighborhood of in Sayulita and La Cruz de Guanacaxtle. They're going to be working on how the highways connect to one another. So the circulation is going to be intermittent during those 3 days. If you have to head north, past Nuevo Vallarta and such, just be mindful that this may not be the best time to do it. And I also wanted to let you know that our president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, has published what is being called as an ethics guide for the transformation of Mexico. This is a document that the president has put together along with a team of collaborators that is hoping to recover some moral and cultural values that, according to the current government, have been lost because of what is labeled as neoliberalism. Now, I don't know exactly what the character of this document is. I have downloaded it. It is available in Spanish in PDF format. The government has announced that they're going to print 8 million copies of this new guide, and it's going to be distributed among the adult population of the country. I don't know exactly what is being hoped that will be accomplished with the document, but it'll be interesting because it gives us a mindset as to where the current government is feeling we ought to be as far as our ethics and our morality and so forth and so on. So let me, before we jump into the weather, take a quick look at your comments. Let's see. Everybody love the alarm. Thank you. Let's see. Julie says she's having a day of mal del puerco. I don't know if you guys know what mal del puerco is, but mal del puerco is when you've eaten so much that you just can't move. I've heard that. I've heard that happens. I'm so glad that Lorraine enjoyed a beautiful supper from Sandrinas. I believe Sandrinas is in Bucerias, right? If I recall correctly. Let's see what else we have. Ba, ba, dum, bum, 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 bum. All these wonderful crash courses on how to call the Christmas flower. Thank you very much. Poinsettia. Poinsettia. I love it. You guys are so much fun. I love this. Poinsettia. Not so the Vallarta. Heather says it's not poinsettia. So it's poinsettia. Poinsettia. Okay, I'm gonna work on that word. I'm so glad that we don't have to use it all that frequently. Um, Mushi says shop small and help local businesses. Absolutely. Um, let's see what else. I got someone Snickers in a knot with a comment, strike two, and a 24-hour lockdown. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mario. I know that sometimes it's really tempting to just go push buttons, and that's why I'm well medicated. Good Lord. Justin was in Puerto Vallarta last week. I'm so very glad to hear that you had a good time, and hopefully you'll be able to return sometime soon. Um, let's see. Happy Friday, says Marie. Happy Friday back to you. We have a super spreader corner of Lázaro Cárdenas and Ignacio Vallarta every night. Packed bar is allowed, but boat tours out on the ocean are told to cut down to 50% capacity. I wish I had a good explanation, Sylvie. We've talked about this before, and to me, it's a mystery. And it is unfortunate that the local government, as we know, doesn't go further in trying to explain their actions to the public, because then uh, we're left feeling, that feeling of, why are we not being taken into account? Terry points out something that is really important, and I think this is a great tip. Thank you very much. A lot of resorts are having a sale today. It would be good if you were interested in having a staycation to look at what is going on out there. Let's see. Uh, Paco! Exclamation mark. Just yesterday, Dr. Leslie Swindle said numbers and hospital admissions are going up, and 80% of those recently admitted are foreign tourists. Well, Heather, we end up being in this dilemma again, and the dilemma that we are under quite frequently. I don't mean to not trust Dr. Swindle, but where was this published? Again, maybe I'm just a stickler for this kind of thing, but with all due respect to Dr. Swindle and this, that, and the other, once we start, well, my personal criteria is once we start looking at what somebody said and what somebody else said, regardless of what the official information is, it is easy to go into this chaos of misinformation that I don't want to steer the community towards. So if that is what Dr. Swindle is saying, let us hope that that is not the case. And if 80% of those that are recently admitted are foreign tourists, well, we've been very clear. Everybody knows what we're supposed to do. And if it's tourists that are getting admitted, I don't know what to say. I really don't. Let's see. Ay, 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 ay. Did the doctor specify which hospitals, private and public? See, that's what I'm getting at. Once we start quoting what somebody said, and if it's not somewhere where we can all verify it, it becomes somewhat complicated. We call that a food coma. I love it. Let's see. Nothing on the vaccination strategy till Monday, then on your show. Simon, if you think you're going to lose sleep over it, I can look at it tomorrow. But because the vaccine is not going to arrive tomorrow or the next day, I don't see the rush. If anybody else sees the rush and you absolutely have to have the vaccination details today or tomorrow, just write the word vaccination in your comments and we'll be so very happy to oblige. Let's see what else. There you go. And yes, that's what we're going to talk about. It's endemic to Mexico and Central America. Well, good for her, Heather. Again, she's not an official spokesperson for the government or for the world of, and I don't mean to get testy, but you know, if it's insiders information, I can't spread that. I can't distribute information that I cannot certify. And because we don't have Dr. Swindle sitting here with us, I ask that everybody handles this kind of information to your own judgment. That's all I'm going to say. Da, 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 da. Okay, so that is my cue to continue with the weather and some leisurely stuff. Let's go there. Okay, it's back to 26 degrees Celsius. Yay. That would be 79 Fahrenheit rather. It feels like 28 degrees right now. Humidity is lower than yesterday. It is 60%. And we know that it's going to be clear throughout the day. And then tomorrow it's going to be humid through the day with a high temperature of 29. And again, humid throughout the day on Sunday. With a high temperature of 29. So it's a good thing that the weather continues to be wintry, or at least as wintry as it gets here in Puerto Vallarta. And moving on with some other headlines that I have to share with you, I am happy to announce for folks that are in Nueva Vallarta or in the northern part of the bay that Blue Flag certified 2 spots in Banderas Bay. We know that Blue Flag is the European-based certification program that goes out and examines marinas and vessels and beaches and makes sure that they abide by the highest certification standard. So according to this article, it was the beach at Nuevo Vallarta Norte or North and the Marina Riviera Nayarit that were recertified by Blue Flag. I decided to take a peek at the Blue Flag Mexico website just to find out what is presently being certified in this part of the world right now. And I see that according to their Spanish website here in Mexico, we see here a spot for Nuevo Vallarta Norte. We see here a spot for Marina Riviera Nayarit. And the 2 beaches that are presently certified in Puerto Vallarta is Playa de Oro, which is just south of the Maritime Terminal, and the beach at the Sheraton Hotel. Does that mean that you shouldn't go swim elsewhere? No, not necessarily, but these are the beaches that, according to Blue Flag, have the highest standard of decontamination and safety in the whole bay. It is worth taking a look at what Blue Flag offers. They have a website in Spanish and they also have a website in English. I will be happy to share those with you at the end of the broadcast. And we started talking about Christmas flowers, Flor de Nochebuena. And as I said before, this is a flower that you may or may not know is endemic to Mexico and Central America. It was then taken to Europe during the colony when the Spaniards came and so forth and so on. And if you're wondering, it grows on its own in many places in Mexico, but it is on the outskirts of Mexico City in Xochimilco, where 200 flower growers in Xochimilco and Tláhuac are getting ready to ship millions of flowers all over the country and all over the world for that matter. Here we see the flowers being grown in a controlled environment. They come in different colors and so forth and so on. Needless to say, these flowers we're very familiar with. And but it's good to see that vendors are getting themselves together. They anticipate that sales this year are not going to be as abundant as they have been in the past. But it is a beautiful thing to know, and it's a beautiful thing to see that this is indeed Mexico's Christmas gift to the world, as Terry has eloquently said. This is beautiful. And I also have a happy ending news. There was a whale in the bay that was trapped in a net, and local elements of Protección Civil, civil protection here in Puerto Vallarta, and personnel from the Navy were able to free the enormous animal from this net in which the whale was trapped. This is a happy news to get. And there's some comment from Astrid Frisch Jordan, who is the one in charge of ecology and conservation of whales here in Banderas Bay, and she said that it was an adult humpback whale, and she had the remains of a net trapped on her tail, but it was successfully removed. The whale is now fine. And now let me take a quick look at your last minute comments just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Let's see. Um, Thank you for that, Kimberly. Again, our goal has always been to rely on 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 sources, and even sources can make mistakes. And I don't mean to disregard the knowledge and the expertise of people that are like right deep in the middle of things locally. But again, for the sake of keeping things in check, I just want to make sure that whatever we distribute here um, is something that we can back up at some kind of source or another. Let's see what else we have. The tourists are bringing it with them. I try to stay away from groups of tourists. Well, I just try to stay away from people that I feel might not be taking care of themselves as well as I try to take care of myself. I don't think it is all the tourists that are at fault, but at the same time, I don't think all the locals are at fault either. It's a little bit of everybody. Let's see what else we have. Invite Leslie Swindle to the show. I may get in touch with her, and if she wants to come and share some information with us, that would be fantastic. Did the crocodiles have a vote? I certainly hope so, says Michael. Let's see what else we have. Oh, thank you very much, Mike. Wikipedia says either pronunciation is appropriate. I love it. Let's see. What else do we have here? This is interesting to know. There are dozens of viveros and nurseries in Michoacan. It's amazing to see them in bulk. James, I'm increasingly intrigued about your knowledge about Michoacan. I noticed when we did a Toot Your Own Horn on Tuesday that you do these wonderful excursions to watch to see the monarch butterflies. Hopefully, we'll have a chance to converse at some point. I'd like that very much. And yes, this is very important information, not only for my beloved Lunita, but for all the cats out there in the world. Flor de Nochebuena is not good for kitty cats. So this is important for people to know. James says that they visit a Nochebuena nursery on our tours. That's fantastic. Myrna asks, where do I broadcast from in PV? My living room. Ta-da! I broadcast from my own living room here in my apartment in Colonia La Avena. My living room has now been moved to the study because I spend more time sitting here, Charlie, conversing with you than anywhere else in the house. So I figured we want to make sure that we have enough space to do this. Occasionally, Myrna, I take my cameras out and I broadcast from elsewhere. We do walking tours and we do live broadcasts from other places. But for the most part, we're always here 10:30 in the morning. More back and forth about tourists and so forth. Again, yes, we can spend some time talking about this, but and I don't want to discourage the dialogue as far as that is concerned. But ultimately, as we often mention, we are left to our own devices as far as our ability to take care of ourselves and make important decisions for ourselves. And I am increasingly grateful that that we enjoy such a nice dialogue here at Coffee and Headlines. I heard some unfortunate news yesterday about one of the local Facebook groups that is going to be closing down because as according to a friend of mine, again, this is not official information, but the person that was moderating the group was sent a cease and desist kind of document for being too colorful in the way they were expressing their rants and raves. So I appreciate the fact that even though a lot of times we feel frustrated and we want to vent and we want to blame and we want to point out things that we don't like, that we are able to do this in a nice level-headed way here at Coffee and Headlines. And I strive to make sure that we continue to enjoy a safe and nurturing environment here. And I thank you for partnering on that with me. With that said, it is that time of the day to wrap things up. As always, I am so grateful that we've had this time together. Wasn't there a television show that ended with that? Was it Carol Burnett? Maybe? Didn't she do this kind of thing? I'm so grateful that we had. Well, never mind me. Never mind me. I don't even know my TV songs. Anyhow, let me say thank you very much for being here. Let me say that it's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Stay kind, stay calm, stay well informed, and make important decisions for yourself and your loved ones. And I hope to see you again soon. Hopefully tomorrow, hopefully Sunday fun day, and hopefully Monday as well. Have a great day.